Learn English through story. The Unseen Garden. In the bustling metropolis of New York, where ambition and success often overshadow personal relationships, lived a man named Samuel Thornton. Samuel was a prominent architect, celebrated for his innovative designs and towering skyscrapers that graced the city skyline. His name was known, his wealth considerable, and his influence significant. Yet, despite his outward success, Samuel led a life marked by solitude and a persistent sense of dissatisfaction. Samuel lived in a sleek, modern apartment high above the city's streets. His home was filled with expensive furniture and art, but it lacked warmth and personal touch. His days were consumed by work, and his evenings by meetings and networking events. Friends and family were distant memories, and his only solace was the occasional walk in Central Park, where he would briefly escape from his demanding world. One crisp autumn afternoon, as Samuel strolled through the park, he came across a small, neglected garden hidden behind a wrought iron gate. The garden, overgrown with weeds and brambles, was barely noticeable amidst the park's manicured landscapes. Samuel, intrigued by its disheveled state, peered through the gate and felt a strange pull. Curiosity led Samuel to the gate, which, surprisingly, was unlocked. He stepped inside and found himself in a forgotten haven. The garden was cluttered with overgrown plants, broken benches, and an old, rusty fountain that had long since stopped working. Despite its neglect, Samuel sensed a hidden beauty in the place, something that resonated with his own feelings of being unfulfilled. As he explored the garden, Samuel noticed a small, weathered plaque near the fountain. It read, "To bring beauty to this place, you must first see it within yourself." Samuel was puzzled but intrigued. He decided to return to the garden regularly, driven by an inexplicable urge to restore it. Over the following weeks, he brought gardening tools and began clearing the overgrown weeds and debris. As he worked, he found solace in the physical labor, a stark contrast to his high-pressure career. During his visits, Samuel often spoke to himself, reflecting on his life and choices. He realized that while he had achieved professional success, he had neglected the more personal and emotional aspects of his life. He had sacrificed relationships and personal happiness for the sake of career advancement. One day, while working on the garden, Samuel met an elderly woman named Mrs. Hazel, who lived in a nearby building. Mrs. Hazel had often watched Samuel from her window, intrigued by his dedication to the neglected space. She introduced herself and offered to help, sharing her knowledge of plants and gardening. As they worked together, Mrs. Hazel and Samuel struck up a friendship. She shared stories of the garden's past, revealing that it had once been a cherished community space, loved by many but fallen into disrepair over the years. Samuel learned that Mrs. Hazel had been part of a group that had initially created the garden, and her memories were filled with fondness and nostalgia. Through their conversations, Samuel began to understand the garden's deeper significance. It wasn't just about restoring a physical space, it was about rekindling a sense of community and personal connection. Samuel found himself increasingly invested in not just the garden but in the lives of those around him. He started reaching out to old friends and family, mending relationships he had long neglected. One evening, as Samuel and Mrs. Hazel worked on planting new flowers, she said, "This garden is a reflection of your journey, Samuel. Just as you've worked to restore it, you're also reviving parts of yourself that had been neglected." Samuel looked around at the now vibrant garden, filled with blooming flowers and thriving plants. I've realized that success isn't just about achievements and accolades. It's also about finding balance and reconnecting with what truly matters. With the garden now flourishing, Samuel decided to host a community event to celebrate its revival. He invited neighbors, friends, and former colleagues, using the occasion to rekindle relationships and share his journey of self-discovery. The event was a success, bringing together people who had once been distant and fostering a sense of unity and belonging. As the years passed, Samuel continued to nurture the garden and his relationships. The garden became a beloved community space, a testament to the power of renewal and connection. Samuel's life transformed from one of solitude and professional success to one filled with personal fulfillment and meaningful relationships. Reflecting on his journey, Samuel understood that the garden's transformation paralleled his own. The neglected space had mirrored his inner turmoil and sense of isolation. By restoring the garden, he had also healed parts of himself, discovering that true fulfillment came from nurturing both personal connections and oneself. The moral of Samuel's story is that genuine success and fulfillment are not solely defined by external achievements or material wealth. True contentment comes from within, through self-reflection, personal growth, and meaningful relationships. Just as the neglected garden was revived through care and attention, so too can our lives be enriched by addressing our inner needs and fostering connections with others. In finding balance and rediscovering what truly matters, we can create a life of greater purpose and satisfaction. I hope you enjoyed the story. If you enjoyed, then please like and share this video, and don't forget to subscribe our YouTube channel. Thank you for watching.